Honorable Men Discord, Errol Musk, Elon Musk's father, was interviewed by CNN, and he had some ignorant things to say. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and by all means, jump in the comment section and let's talk about it respectfully. So, for those of you that are unaware, Errol Musk, which is Elon Musk's father, sat down in an interview, or sat down for an interview with CNN, and there were some questions asked in regard to the fact that the future of America is soon to change. It's projected that soon in America, the white population will not be the majority. And when that question was asked of Errol Musk, he seemed to think that the United States would crumble if the white population is no longer the majority. But let's get straight to the clip if you're unfamiliar with this, and then we'll talk about it further. So let's take a look at this clip.
The big concern at the moment, and why I think South Africa is a big talking point in the US right now, is America in the next 20 years will become, for the first time in its history, a minority white country.
Well, that will be a very, very bad thing to happen. You want to see the US go down? Why? Oh, you don't like cars and electric cars, and you don't like technology, or what is it? You want to go back to the jungle, or?
If the US becomes a minority white country.
Yes.
So there's Latinas, there's blacks, there's people from all different races make up the majority, and then, you know, it could be 48% white people. Do you really think the US is doomed if it goes under?
Yes, it goes under then.
Seriously?
Yes, of course. You see, if you take South Africa, we have a small white population that projects the European culture, or what we learned from Europe.
And oppressed millions of black people.
No.
For decades.
How do you oppress? We gave them work, we fed them. They grew from a tiny little group into a massive group. That's not oppression, that's feeding them. Do you understand? You only grow big if you get fed. You only start at 800 and become 50 million if you get fed. We fed them, for crying out loud. You know, enough with this nonsense.
But so you understand, because the black population was so oppressed under apartheid.
Well, we never saw this oppression you're talking about.
You never saw it.
No, I never saw it.
Yeah, because you're white.
So there you have it. And folks, I can't make this up. This is ignorance at its finest level. Okay? Its finest form of ignorance. This man, talking about Errol Musk, this man had the nerve to say, he's basically saying that blacks should be proud that we were fed, and that's why we grew in population. And I'm pretty sure he was referring to the Africans in South Africa, because I believe that's what the question was about. Because the interviewer asked him whether or not he believed that oppression did exist, and he said he never felt oppression, which of course he would not feel it oppression, because he was on the right side of the fence, so to speak, when it came to being oppressed. But you know, his rhetoric, the words that he chose to use when he said, do you want to go back to the jungle, when speaking about the whites of America no longer being the majority. I'm blown away. I was blown away by what was said in this interview. Were you blown away by what was said in this interview? Do you think this was not ignorant on his part? I believe it's absolutely ignorant. First and foremost, the United States, if I'm not mistaken, is supposed to be a representation, a melting pot of all different nationalities and races. America prides itself on immigrants coming to the country legally. Let me say that, because clearly in 2025, it does not pride itself on illegal immigrants, but we're not here to talk about that. But so to speak about the United States of America as if everything will crumble if there's a change and a shift in who's the minority, whether it be the white population, the black population, the Latin population, the Asian population. Is just ridiculous. All right. First and foremost, all nationalities are capable of creating innovations, creating cars. And you might say, well, where's the proof of that? You know, how could you prove that? Well, I'll say this much. If I can't prove that, it's not so much that other races are incapable, it's that other races aren't allowed the opportunity to get into those positions to create. Now, you could agree to disagree, but let's be honest. A lot of these positions, a lot of these opportunities aren't allotted to everyone. It's not open. The doors aren't open to everyone. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse, because I know where that will take this conversation. It will be looked upon as though I'm coming up with excuses. But what I will say is this, in reference to him speaking as if the United States would crumble if the white population should decrease. I think that's absolutely absurd. I think the Asian population, the Latin population, and the black population are capable of sustaining this country just fine. Okay? Because there are intelligent people in all races, not just the white population. There's intelligent people of all races, of all races, excuse me. There are inventors of all races. All races have extremely brilliant minds that have produced innovations in this world. I don't have to go through them. I've gone through Black inventors at the top of this year in February for Black History Month. So you can go back to those old episodes and learn about some of the inventors. And although I did cover older inventors that created innovations that we still use today, there are still current innovators. As a matter of fact, in Africa, there was a young high school student who created a vehicle, a car that was powered by water. And you can do that research to fact check me on that. I don't have that information in front of me, but I'm saying all of that to say this. It's complete ignorance for Errol Musk to think that, you know, if the white population decreases in the United States, all hell breaks loose. As if there's no innovators out there that could sustain this country. It's absurd. I stand on that 10 toes down. What he speaks of is completely absurd. Then it's disrespectful to make the reference as to say, would you like to go back to the jungle, when he mentioned that to the interviewer. What is he implying by that? What is he implying by going back to the jungle? I mean, I believe what he's implying is that if it goes into hands of Black Americans, that would be returning to the jungle. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I apologize for assuming that that's what he meant, but that's what I take from that. I think that's what many of you all may have taken from it as well. Let me know in the comments what you think. But also, when he speaks of the, I guess, the white South Africans' contributions to the Africans, the Black Africans in South Africa, when he mentions feeding, you know, we fed the people and that's why they grew. He mentioned something along the lines of the population growing because they were fed. That sounds as though he's talking about animals, not human beings. You can say, and what really blows my mind with this particular interview is that he's a very intelligent man. If you look at his background, I believe he has some type of engineering, mechanical engineering background, and he was a pilot at one point. Errol Musk was a pilot. So an intelligent man. I don't take that away from him. Doesn't mean he's not ignorant. And I want you to note that in this episode. Just because you're intelligent doesn't mean you're not ignorant. Okay? Doesn't mean that you're incapable of being ignorant. If anything, I think a lot of people that are brilliant and extremely intelligent, they start to believe that they're godlike and start to believe that their perspective is the right perspective. It's the righteous perspective. But that's not the case all the time. That's pretty much not the case at any time, for the most part. But hear me out on this. So when he speaks about feeding the South Africans, and that's why the population grew, he's saying that as though he was talking about animals, and as though the black South Africans should have gratitude for being fed. But if he wasn't ignorant, for those of you who may believe that he's not ignorant, I challenge you on this. He's smart enough with his mechanical engineering background. He's smart enough to articulate himself in a way where he could have said, we've given opportunities. Opportunities were created. There's ways of wording things where it doesn't sound ignorant and racist and just coming from a place of entitlement. He could have said that opportunities were given. Jobs were created to help men feed families, help black men feed families. Had he said it that way, and that I'm just presenting an alternative to what he said in the interview. Had he said it that way, it wouldn't come across as ignorant as it did. So while I was speechless when I saw this clip, by the way, and I did not see the full interview, but I will make time at some point in time to watch the full interview. But another thing that stood out for me is, why CNN? Why did you decide to interview Errol Musk? What's the relevance? Why is it important for us to hear from Errol Musk? Is it just because you were desperate to get content from someone who was associated with Elon Musk? Maybe you couldn't get Elon Musk, which I don't think that's the case, because you're CNN. I believe you have the resources and the money to get Elon Musk. But why do we have to hear this from Errol Musk? Because I'm not just appalled by what was said in this interview by Errol Musk, but I'm appalled that CNN thought that this was wise to put this out. Because make no mistake, I pay attention to all of this. I'm paying attention to the interview, the relevance to the interview. Is there a book coming out? Why are we, and I'm saying we, but why are you, CNN, interviewing Errol Musk? Why are you putting this content out that is divisive, and it is disrespectful, for lack of a better word? It's degrading to not only the black Americans or black South Africans, it's degrading to the other races, again, that embody the United States. It's degrading to the Latin community, the Asian community, and the Indian community. I'm sorry I didn't mention them earlier. The Mexican community. You know, this is the United States, and for you to act as though, or assume, I shouldn't say act as though, because you are very strong in your convictions, for you to assume that the United States would crumble if the white population should decrease is amazing. It's amazing. But, you know, in some ways, CNN, I'm not completely appalled by you putting this interview out, because it's necessary for people to see this, to know just how some people think. And not all people think this way, but there is a group of people that do think like this, and it's a case study to be studied. So let us keep this episode highlighted whenever you think that there's individuals that don't think like this in this world. Maybe you need to go back to this particular episode regarding the interview with CNN and Errol Musk, to just remind yourself of how little some people think you are as a human being and your capabilities. And that goes for any of you who are aspiring inventors, aspiring doctors, architects, so on and so forth. All you brilliant minds watching this episode, no matter what race you are, if you're Asian, if you're Latin, if you're Indian, if you're black, you know, male, female, doesn't matter. If you're anything other than someone who is white, just consider that there's someone out there like Errol Musk that thinks your contribution to the world, to your country, is no contribution at all. And that's not me saying that. This episode is about Errol Musk. So let's be clear. I think every human being has the potential to do great and brilliant things. All right. That is not me saying that. So let's be very clear. All right. So yes, there you have it. If you're unaware of this, I hope this opens up your mind, and then you'll do further research. Look up the entire interview. And by all means, if you have something you'd like to share about this episode, I'll be waiting in the comment section. But aside from all of that, I appreciate all of you. Again, tell a friend to tell a friend. I drop episodes daily, Eastern time at 5 p.m. And as always, stay honorable.